Yeah, and with the stuff that happened, when he did the fake meltdown, talking about his family's rifles and Kentucky Fried Chicken or something. um, it
You
just
really never know with Maria, man. Like
you never
it's.
know. Listen, I'll
Were
tell you,
you
he
in the early
reminds me
days of
of.
the chat log?
Oh, it depends. Like what time we're talking about time frame? Like really really early, the IRC.
Let's say before. Let's say before the first Christmas in
Where are
Pulse Chain,
your
so
friends?
2023. So
Mine
like,
are all
October, November, December, that kind
I
of
think I was more
prior to
in
that.
around December time. Yeah, December.
December
I would
time.
say.
Okay, I think that's
Yeah.
kind of maybe where I got into it as well. So okay, so I mean, he was like people are freaking out in his language on YouTube now, and it's like literally the Atropa chat logs is like it's the same. He's just a skits in all of them.
Listen, I'll tell you something. A Tropa
Where are
Dev,
your friends?
he reminds you of Kanye
Mine
West.
are all
Okay,
around.
everyone calls him a schizo, but nobody calls him wrong.
I think he's a genius.
No, I'm joking.
I love him.
Yeah, I mean,
I love him.
yeah, I 100% think he's the right person to be leading this ecosystem.
Yeah.
You know,
I think there's people will often only look at the negative things like, oh, this token rugged and this token rugged, but there's lessons there for everybody. If you bought a token where the dev owns 99% of the supply and then it quote unquote rugged, well, that was kind of your fault for not really looking into the token supply. And this goes back to one of those lessons that you were talking about before, where you found that you always win when you have the mindset of delayed gratification. Like, there's really something to be said about the type of mindset that you have when you're actually pressing the buy button and pressing the sell button. If you're in there like, oh, the Atropa Devs just launched a new token and I got to get in there, I'm feeling so greedy, I'm not going to do any research, I'm just going to dive in there, you're probably going to get wrecked. You're probably going to get wrecked. And then there's nobody else to blame but yourself, unfortunately.
100%. Yeah, and I think Atropa, he likes to do the whole kind of giving like a green light. Because if you follow all the deployer wallets, I think there's a few of them. Like not all of them are meant to be bought. It depends. I think, yeah, as you said, there's a few hints here and there that someone had a beautiful write-up, which is if you look at the supply, if it's like a weird, like decimal number or a weird non-rounded number, or just in general, like when he does, is it called the no nukes token?
No nukes token, yes. So that's been one that I think
Is it where he's attracting the arbitrage bots?
the arbitrage bots are just everywhere on Pulse Chain. So the arbitrage bots is just like they're just there. And so any fluctuations in price or any movements in price in any liquidity pool, the R bots are going to come in there and arbitrage basically. So what were you going to say about no nukes?
No nukes, as in like that's kind of been. I think it's the ones that have. Is it 666 supply or something?
So all the 666 supply tokens are connected to no nukes. And so
yeah.
no nukes is like a mintable token that I think people can mint it. Like I don't think Maria can mint it, but other people can mint it but only Maria can get the supply. So I could mint it and then Maria gets the supply. So it's almost like, okay, well, you're kind of giving something for Maria to then put out into the system. I don't know if Maria can actually do the minting, or maybe he can, but others can also do it. I suppose I should.
Yeah. That's the thing, like with Atropa Dev, like the Atropic system, you can go very deep. I know there's like layer 1, layer 2 with the dysnomia.
Oh, bro, it's so deep.
And independence. Yeah.
That's kind of what I
very,
find a little bit insulting, because it's like people are looking on the surface level and, oh, I was here from day one and I made money on this token and this token got rugged. But it's like, if that's the perspective that you have on the Atropa ecosystem of just looking at whether this token went up or down, then you didn't understand it, but you're talking like you do understand it. And people, they're like very arrogant about how they think they understand it. And it just, I don't know, it just, yeah.
100%. No, I agree, because when you think about it, this guy who doxed himself, right? Ex-NASA, ex-Microsoft, ex-former, Intel, HP guy who's extremely smart, knows literally about rocket science, moon number, you know what I mean? The number go up kind of theory. You tell me this guy who spent hours every single day building on Pulse Chain, yes, he's seems weird. Not a lot of people line up with him, etc. But regardless, he spent time, energy, and a lot of time into building this tropic system. So he knows something again that I don't. But I know I just want to follow him, and I've been actually very successful by doing so. Again, Atropa Dev, it's a leverage. The Atropa ecosystem is literally a leverage of PDI. So if you believe in PDI, you just have to believe in Atropa.
Yeah. And then even the whole narrative around, like, I mean, this is to the USD value, like, oh, Maria's rugging the system. It's like, hey man, it's, if you're just thinking about money and you think that's all that Maria's thinking about, and it's the same as this current hacker, like, his wallet's going to be worth, I mean, when this gets to 750, he's like, the whole system is going to be worth like hundreds of billions of dollars, probably tens of billions to hundreds of billions. Like, why again would you rug the system? Oh, he's rugged it, all this fart all over Twitter, like, oh, Maria's rugging in big capital letters and F all the Atropa people. It's just like, you guys really need to, like, and ladies in particular, in this particular instance, really need to calm down and reassess where that energy of those words is actually coming from, because that's not true. It's not true at all. And I think this person who's done all this building on this chain, the way that he's getting, like, crucified, it's like, I don't like it at all, man. So, like, I just think there's so much beauty to this system that people are not seeing.
100%. I feel like there's a lot of things that's happening in the background, where time will tell. Time is the only factor that we have right now. We have a lot of unanswered questions. We will not get them answered until it's too late. So
exactly, yeah,
and I feel like why did Atropa do what he did? Can't really give you an answer. He didn't sell his all bags. I think he still holds a lot of like down and stuff like that. But I do feel like he got the message across by doing what he did. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing with with the 5996 is a different case, really. I feel like, would you rather this 5996 wallet, would you rather him hold the PDA that he's minting, or do you think it's actually good for him to sell it? Now, my theory is I feel like he needs to sell it into the pool because he needs to create that arbitrage process so that he can then get the lower prices, so he can then do the whole process again of basically liquidating some of the vaults, buying it back into auction, etc. Because at the same time, would you rather the 596 hold all that accumulated PDI and basically have a central supply, which is again against the principles of a decentralized token, a decentralized stablecoin? What is happening with the funds when they're bridged out? Literally at this point, only God knows. I will admit, I don't have all the answers. But only time can tell. Which the next
what does your heart tell you?
What
does your heart tell you?
Is what my heart tell me is, like, I have never hovered over that sell button. Oh God! Like, during all this time, I was like, wow. I just said, like, wow, we are really in a what's the word? In a simulation. I was like, hold on, is it in a simulation where, like, God is putting us through these tests? You know what I mean? Like, are we talking about God or Richard Hart here, who's playing God in his own simulation, which you could think about is Pulse Chain, right? Because Richard Hart now, he changed his ways. Like, he doesn't do live streams. He does it through, he does communication through basically blockchain. You know what I mean? Like with the OA bags and stuff, which obviously, OA technically is not Richard Hart, but it's just very interesting. Like, he knows people are watching the OA bags. So if he buys like stuff like Pump or pulls the liquidity and stuff, it's like, he just knows a lot of people are watching it. So it really, you have to look at things into a deeper level. It's not just, don't think about it in a one-dimensional or two-dimensional, what you're seeing. There's a third dimension, guys. There is a third dimension. Like,
exactly. It's really, I mean, what you said about Richard Hart playing God, but even for me, even beyond that, like, I just feel like I've always followed my heart, and I don't feel like I've ever been led astray, and I feel like everything has turned out just fine if I live as best as I can. And if ever things go wrong, it's because my mind was wrong. If I suffered from something, it's because my mind was trash. It was my fault. And I just don't feel like all the things that have led me here, you know, you talk about coincidences, man. Like, I mean, coincidences and me, I'm just like, I'm all over that. It, like, from a spiritual God kind of perspective.
100%.
And I'm just like, that it just doesn't feel any way, shape, or form. There's no possible reality where I've been this deceived by God to be led down this path, talking about all these things and all these moments and trying to inspire people and bring people up, and then for all of this to just be like some massive rug pull. I'm just like, it's almost like God would do this to humble me, but I feel like I've been as extremely like sincere and authentic as I possibly can. So for God to then just slap me down, it just doesn't make sense in my perspective either. So there's too many things.
100%. One sentence that comes to my mind out of all of this is the road to heaven feels like hell. I think this exactly sums what we're seeing right now.
Oh, bro, yeah, this is like it's like a test from God. Like, not even just Richard Hart, or if let's take Richard Hart out of the equation. Like this is still part of reality. This cryptocurrency stuff is still in reality, and this is like an ultimate test of faith from God. That's how I feel. Maybe not ultimate, but it's up there.
Yeah, 100%. As in, like, you know, delay your gratification. Almost everything great in life is achieved from delayed gratification. You know what I mean? A gym results, I don't know, starting a business, turning it into, I don't know, 7-figure business. It is literally delayed gratification, not going for that, okay, instant results. Okay, I just did something, I didn't get the results. It must be something wrong. No, you have to trust in the process. You have to trust in God. You know? And obviously in this case, it's just in general, like, doing less is more. You know, trying to trade less, it's actually, like, already statistically proven you are actually less likely to do a wrong trade. One of the best trading accounts, and I think this is a shout out to Sami for mentioning this. You know, one of the best trading accounts out there are the people who are either dead or forgot their passwords. so you know what I mean? Just try to don't check the charts every single day. You know, literally get yourself busy doing something else. You know, practice delaying gratification. This is why, like, gym for me personally, like, it helps me a lot.
Oh, yes.
You know, just in general, process everything. Like, I'm still processing everything. I literally feel like right now I'm actually a third person in this body who's just watching this cinematic, you know, movie happening. Like, it literally feels like this could be the greatest crypto psyop ever. Ever.
Yeah. And I just want to honor this question from Money Gang because, you know, like, guys, even in the chat, I'm watching the chat as well as I'm listening, that, you know, Money Gang's asking legitimate questions. It's okay to be questioning this narrative. And yes, Money Gang, you're exactly correct. So to our point, for this to play out, we have to assume that this wallet is benevolent. If this wallet is not benevolent, then we're screwed. It's that simple. So yes, this is all on the assumption that the wallet is a benevolent actor. So we're all playing that card, basically.
And wasn't it also tied into the wallet that literally pegged VDI to PFTC as well? Wasn't it the 596 is related to that blockchain wallet?
I'm not 100% sure, but then there's also this where people are saying that wallet has done transactions 2 days before Pulse Chain was launched. So there's a lot.
Wow.
There's just a lot of things, man. Yeah, this is something that's come up a lot. Yeah. I even think there was this tweet that I had cooked up from.
Piltover will achieve its destiny.
This was I won't go into this one. I might go into a stream on this one so I can kind of read it more carefully. I find it difficult to read things while I'm talking to someone, but yeah. That 99 Capital's Twitter, you'll be able to find all this stuff on there. So yeah, 2 days before the Pulse Chain launched, the 5996 wallet had done some transactions. So yeah, there's just, it's these kinds of things, Money Gang and doubters, that, like, we're looking at these things, but not only have we looked at those things and been like, certainly, I can only speak for myself. It's not just like, oh, this thing is great. Like, I've bought 1 million of this PDI and I want to believe that this is true. It's like, for me personally, there's just been things where it's like there'll be like synchronicities that have led me to find that piece of information, and it's just felt so right reading it, and I'm just like, yes, I'm on the right track. Like I'm in nature's flow, I'm in the zone, and I've just found this piece of information, and I was being grateful, and then all of a sudden this has just popped up into my world. Like it goes beyond just trying to be like biased with greed towards my bags. That's for me personally. I can't speak for anybody else. So
Yeah. No, 100%. And this guy Hans, who's you believe it's a scam, it will never work, never ever work. Why are you guys being bag biased, trying to recoup investment? Again, I do feel like I'm being true to myself and true to my community by literally sticking to what I started in when I started making videos about pulse chain. I had the saying 4 horsemen: PWC, PDI, Tropa, and Bear, Teddy Bear. Those are my 4 horsemen. And then I extended that to be the core 7. And I believe in all the core 7. You cannot shake me out of those bags. Like, it's quite simple as that. I feel like it would be disingenuous if you want me to speak about stuff that I'm not holding. So really, you have to choose, which one's worse, which one's better. I don't understand. You have to believe in something. Okay? What you're watching is me and my thought process. And I always advocate for people to be independent thinkers. So you look at me and you understand, okay, what is the toolbox that I'm using? What is my logical thinking into why I'm still holding firmly on PDI? And not just that, in pulse chain. Guys, there's been moments where pulse chain was extremely bearish. We're talking 4 million daily volume. This was last summer in 2024. Everything was so bearish. And I was still believing in that. Are you telling me that I was waiting for someone or waiting for the majority to tell me that, oh yeah, we're in the right place? That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Being contrarian, when it feels terrible to hold the bags that you're holding, you just know that's the best gains to be made from. Like, that's how it is. Like, the FUDs, the cycle, right? If a bag that you're holding feels good to hold, you're actually closer to that euphoric territory. Okay, but what we are right now, we're in fear, extreme fear. In general, the whole crypto market and within pulse chain. So when I think about, okay, let me evaluate, something feels terrible to hold, like, okay, we're down, we're very, very down. And in my head, I'm like, okay, this is exactly where I need to not capitulate. Not everyone can stand or survive this test. This is why I tell people, be careful. The worst thing to do is to sell at a loss. Just in general, people do that because, being a disciplined trader, you have to have, depending on, you're either going to have a stop loss or you're going to have no stop losses. You know what I mean? Because you just never know. One of the biggest issues is people who sell too soon a profit of a bag that would have done even more, or the people who sell at a loss of a bag that would have done a reversal. You know what I mean? Because of course you have to expect volatility. This is why I tell people don't ever leverage. Because you will get hunted down. Like, it's public information of whatever people leverage. They will try to get that price lower to get you liquidated before it goes up. It's basically a price magnet, by the way, which what we're seeing with Bitcoin. I think it's around, I don't know if it's like billions of dollars. If we reach 90k Bitcoin, that will be liquidated. So that's a price magnet, basically. So, and just I want to say, the lower we are in terms of pulse chain confidence and PDI confidence and PDI holders, I do believe the easier we are to peg.
You won't escape.
Okay, my thought process is just remember a rocket ship takes off from the ground. Okay, so there you go.
yeah, and then again on this Money Gang, again, correct. We're betting on all those, but again, I can only speak for myself. But my wouldn't take that risk. Like that's where the leverage comes into it, like, and there's something to be said in that as well, bro. Like the leverage and the greed, the greedy mind, going in with too much greed, like, oh, this massive position, this massive opportunity, but over leveraging with a greedy mind. Like somehow the universe has always punished me when I do that. Always. There's never been a time where I've done it with that energy and I haven't suffered the consequences of that. There doesn't seem to be. There's like no free lunch. There's no free lunch in the universe. You have to work for everything that you get. So, yeah, that's definitely a bet that a lot of people are taking, Money Gang. So I'm not encouraging anyone to buy or sell or do anything. All I'm doing is I'm waiting it out. I'm the same as you, Khaled. I'm waiting for this number. I'm waiting for this join number. Just watching this with the eyes of a hawk. And you know what? It's probably going to get to 0, and there might even be another FUD event when it gets to 0. Something's going to happen, and it's going to be like it's going to test you again, and your bags are going to be. But again, I'm still going to do. What am I going to do? What my portfolio that portion of my portfolio is going to be worth like a few hundred. Well, what am I going to rotate it into? Again, the upside is like by that point it's probably going to be 1,000x, and the downside would be what, a couple $100. Like, so what? So
Exactly. Risk to reward ratio. Yep.
Exactly.
And just in general, diversify. If you don't want to, if you want to protect yourself from an ecosystem level or de-risk to protect yourself against the ecosystem level risk, go into other stuff. Like you have the core tokens. You know what I mean? Like don't go just fall into one thing. It's really good. Like a lot of people, I remember there was times where PDI and PE Hex were at almost the same price, and like, oh, which one's gonna go to $1 first? I think it's this one. Oh, you guys, and then like the tribalism happens, which I'm like, why are we doing this? Like at the end of the day, you can literally be in both worlds. Have you thought about that? Being in best of both worlds. People are asking me, oh, Khaled, if one is aimed to go at $1, the other one can go more than $1. Why should I just not go all in Hex? I'm like, okay, it's different narratives. These are different tokens running with, on different races and paces. Okay, like it's literally, and one, if it succeeded, it stays at $1. It becomes the risk off asset, the stable coin. Right, and the other one, okay, fair enough, it's going to still be volatile, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm like, it really just depends. In my opinion, I'm making the best of both worlds. I feel like it actually makes me less, or just protects me basically against moments like these where, hey, I can still think very logically. I don't need to emotionally react and do something that I might regret tomorrow. Okay, like simple as that. I don't need to rotate anymore if it's, and as you mentioned, like, okay, people who have like 9 to 5s, which I do. I can get fresh risk capital, and then continue DCAing, and that's what I've been doing since 2023, DCAing in the bags that I believe. I have not changed since then.
Like, do you have a favorite core, just out of curiosity? So you've mentioned you've got your 7 cores, but out of the typical Richard Hart cores, do you have a favorite core coin?
Like out of the 7 or something?
Out of the 4 that have got Richard's name on it: Pulse, PulseX, Hex, well, E-Hex actually, so 5 and E.
Wow, I mean, it would have to be PDI, PWTC, and any runner-ups would be stuff like Tether, because I do like the fact that
out of the ones that under Richard's name.
Oh, only the ones. Oh yeah, PulseX and INC.
PulseX and INC. I think you might have said that before. Sorry, actually. Yeah.
I mean, I hold all 4. Well, I don't hold Pulse because I feel like PulseX is a direct 2x leverage of that, so I doubled down in PulseX just because of the extreme deflation nature. I think right now it probably burnt 6.7% of the supply. It is a better Uniswap, and with INC, I already like kind of predicted that. Well, not trying to like brag. I already told people that the rate of inflation has been reducing on a daily, where it's a realized Bitcoin halving per year. And I said like INC is how the way they call the Bitcoin is digital gold. INC is liquid gold because it's an aggressive Bitcoin model, and that's exactly what we've seen. Richard Hart came in, I think, using the Master Chief contract, and he literally changed it. He lowered the inflation per second, not once, but I think it was 4 or 5 times, and effectively it has a realized Bitcoin halving of 4 Bitcoin halvings, where now it's extremely scarce. The same way how Bitcoin will be scarce, and then it'll plateau at 21 million. So INC, I believe in all of those. Yeah, PulseX and even PHEX and EHEX. It's very hard to choose. Like, okay, out of them, like which one would be my favorite? It's very, very hard. So
they
the
all
next
have
best thing is
going for them.
Huh?
They all have something a little bit
Oh,
different
100%.
going.
Yeah, the reason why I'm holding P-Hex is totally different reasons why I'm holding P-Hex. Totally.
I just want to really highlight and comment this as well from Crypto Artie. So shout out to you, Artie. So I honestly didn't expect all this hate from the Hexicans. Unfortunate and sad considering we are one ecosystem. Whichever side is right, we need to forgive and grow up as one and not divided. So I just think that's a beautiful message, man. I think that's really, I mean, that's something that I've been trying to share regardless from the beginning. Like, you know, we've always had this division between like the Atropa ecosystem and the Tang Gang and maxis and anything else that's on the chain and non-maxis. We've always had this division in the chain, and there's always been the debate even about the division and like, oh, the division is good because it drives marketing. I mean, look what's happening with PETA. Like, Ivan on Tech's been talking about it every day for the last 4 days. What's his name? Bob Lucas tweeted about Hex. Like, people are seeing the fights, the algorithms, the social media algorithms. They love fighting. They love it because that's what people love to watch. So, I think no matter what happens in this, I really hope, whichever way that it goes, if it goes in our favor and we were right, I really hope that people on the side that I'm on are going to be mature enough and respectful enough to not rub it in anybody's faces, particularly the people that might have capitulated and fudded. And I hope from the other perspective, if we were wrong, the other people, I mean, there's already been people that have been pissing on our graves or attempting to piss on our graves, jumping into like different chats and just like spouting nonsense and, you know, oh, Somi's bags are down, and like it's not a good vibe. It's not a good way to treat people at all, actually. It's horrendous, to be perfectly honest. Like, money and greed really brings the worst out in humanity.
I know, yeah. And just to add to that, like a lot of people saying that, you know, talking basically crap about Somi. I just want to say, man, I watched a lot of Somi's videos, like, you know, I think 2023 I started, 2024, and right now as well. Like, this guy never said go all in. Like, he literally always preaches about 90% core, 10% lottery. Like, are you telling me just because he's one of the loudest people in Pulse Chain, which by the way, he onboarded a lot of people on Pulse Chain, and by the way as well, like, he doesn't just talk about PDI. This guy provides a lot of information just in general with crypto. Like, I don't know why all of a sudden people think that he's been just PDI driven, and he's saying like, oh, you know, he's driving all people to into PDI and should be held accountable, be platform, whatever. It does not make any sense. You know, at the end of the day, controls their own hand to buy or to sell. What you're looking into someone who believes in something.
Exactly.
I don't understand. Why do people want influencers to become disingenuous? Isn't that the whole premise about Pulse Chain that's trying to protect itself from? You know, the other chains that have VC-backed marketing, that they're paying influencers to shill about something while they're dumping it behind your back.
Exactly, bro. And that's multi-layered. One, people are sovereign individuals that think for themselves and choose whatever they want. Two, like, Somi is in the minority of influencers. There's literally like hundreds of other influencers who are saying don't do this. So people will choose what they want to choose based on their own tolerance for risk or their own desires. Yeah, we don't have just blaming the influencer, like, oh, you're encouraging people to buy. Like, those people are, you know, like they're little 5-year-old babies. Like, you know, like you've got to hold their hand across the road and hold their hand to press the buy button. Like, people are sovereign individuals that are choosing things for themselves based on the information that they get. People are weighing up the pros and cons, and they're probably going, you know what, the pros are better, I'm going to do this, or the cons are, it's more in favor of the con, I'm not going to do it. Like, people are making their own choices. I think that's something important to highlight as well. So
100%, and that's something that he said as well, is that he literally reminded people that, hey, this all could go to zero.
He says if you don't like it, just sell.
This can be applied literally anywhere we are in a free market, unregulated. Everything has an element of risk. It's just trade-offs. It's just odds. Nothing is 100%. I literally can't give you a token right now and say, oh, it will 100% go up in a week, in a month, in a year. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's all about odds. I can tell you Bitcoin, okay, it has 90% odds that for 3 out of 4 years it goes up. I'll never say 100%.
Breakthrough progress.
Exactly. And you know what, man? And I, you know, like, you know, I don't want to like divide the community up or anything like this, but you know, it's kind of disingenuous. It's kind of disingenuous when people are saying, let's buy this. And I mean, well, realistically, this is actually an ultimately good dip. This is a fantastic, phenomenal dip. But I just wanted to look at what happens when the origin address actually starts buying this. Are we supporting the origin address, or are we selling against the origin address? Because I noticed that with most the other day. And every single time the origin address does a buy, it gets like hammered down, like viciously hammered down, like every single time. I think